AJB Live will begin momentarily. AJB Live will begin momentarily. Breaking news from the Stream Center. Here's JV Buno.
A manhunt in Utah and beyond. The FBI, law enforcement agencies releasing new photos of a person of interest in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Charlie Kirk shot and killed at an event at Utah Valley University no more than 24 hours ago. We are live here in the Stream Center. JB here with you, folks. We're going to have some other members of our team joining us here on stream as well, bringing you live feeds from across the country and updates as they develop. It's good to have you with us. We wish under better circumstances. This is obviously a story that people around the country, around the world are following, the latest with Charlie Kirk. I'm going to bring down the very latest here that we have from multiple sources and communicate that to you on stream. We're also going to bring in your comments, your questions, people that want to have their voice heard. We're going to be doing that in our interactive live stream here momentarily. It's really important to note that the FBI has some mixed signals in the last few minutes, literally in the last few minutes. The FBI has communicated out that they are going to be doing a press conference at 2:45, but now they're saying that that press conference might actually be delayed. A lot of moving parts can take place in a breaking news situation like this when we have a developing story, and usually what can happen is delays can be for a variety of different reasons, but one of the reasons could be, and without going too far into speculation, is developments in the last several minutes. They called a press conference for 2:45, and now we're hearing that that press conference might not actually begin right at 2:45. Regardless, a press conference update of some form is expected sometime in the next couple of hours, and we hope closer to 2:45 so that we can communicate that information out to you. So I'm going to say hello to our TikTok audience. I'm going to say hello to our YouTube Live audience and our Facebook Live audience. We're going to be spotlighting your comments here over the course of the live stream, and we'll do so off the top here with Patrick on TikTok saying, did the FBI find any prints? And yes, they are analyzing a palm print as we understand it. And we do have images of the shooter now, or excuse me, the shooting suspect, I should say, rather. So let's get to those images here. I want to show this to everybody. We can get a real good look at this. A couple of images put out by the FBI and by law enforcement. So here we have a male individual, appears to be in a long sleeve black shirt with a, looks like, what is that? That's an American flag with a bald eagle on it. And here, if we really zoomed in, you know, look, we're getting pretty low res now, but you can see an idea as to what the person of interest, as they're calling it, looks like. I think that shooting suspect might be a bit premature here. I think everybody wants this to be a suspect because they want justice, obviously, for Charlie Kirk and this unspeakable act of political violence that has transpired. But the FBI is saying that this is just a person of interest. But it is pretty significant that we have these images and that the FBI just a few hours ago saying they weren't going to put anything out, now putting out images of a person of interest in this particular case. So you can see wearing sunglasses, wearing a hat. This is something that we see in photos all the time released by law enforcement agencies because it's somebody that you would assume is trying to conceal their identity, or it's just a bright day and they're wearing sunglasses and a hat. Regardless, it's very easy to read a lot into these images, but this is the description that we're talking about here. It looks like about a medium build, dark or black long sleeve shirt, probably jeans or lighter color pants on as well with the hat and the sunglasses. Difficult to determine age here, right? So comment section, I want to get you guys involved here. Does he look 20s, 30s, 40s to you? Or teens? I mean, no, I don't think he looks like a teenager. We can probably just rule that out, right? That's not a teenager. That's an adult. That's an adult male. But it's interesting because I have the notes here from the press conference earlier. They said that he was about college age and that he blended in. The words that they used were blended in with the college community in the aftermath of the shooting. That's why he was able to elude authorities in the aftermath of assassinating Charlie Kirk. So it's interesting because I hear them say college age, but for some reason my brain is looking at this. My eyeballs are looking at this, and I see someone older. I don't see someone who looks 20 or 21, but maybe that's just the image playing tricks on me. I'm very curious as to what the chat thinks here. But regardless, if you're just joining us, everybody, 2:45 is when we might have an FBI press conference as what we've been told. And if that press conference does take place, that is something that we will be providing here on the live stream. Here in the Stream Center, we can, and that's why I'm looking in this direction, we can provide a lot of different live feeds from really all over the country. And we plan to do that. And I'm going to stay live with you over the next I would say a couple of hours. So Dink in our comment section says 30s. Tina says 30s. Bria says, I say late 20s. I don't. Does anybody see like a college student? I don't know. I mean, look, a college student can be anyone of any age. Anybody can go back to school. But they were making it sound as if he blended back in because he was younger looking, younger as in young enough to be a college student and, a prototypical college student. Gotta love the TikTok usernames. I don't eat mustard says early 30s. Right. I'm kind of seeing that as well. But, I mean, these are grainy images. I'm actually surprised they're not worse. So often in the news do we get images of a suspect or a person of interest, and they're way worse. Sometimes they're not even in color. They'll be in black and white. So I'm relieved to hear that, or at least see that we have some images that at least we have some makeup. But it's interesting because you see the photos on social media, the videos on social media of the shooter laying down on the roof of the building that was about 200 yards away from where Charlie was speaking. And you're trying to connect the dots and put the puzzle pieces together. You're trying to determine, okay, does it match this bill? Does it match this description? Is this person the person that was laying down on top of that rooftop? The FBI does not release these photos lightly. Let's make that clear. The FBI, law enforcement agencies can vary in reputation. The FBI is not putting out these photos unless that they are pretty certain that they have something here of substance. And the person that we're looking at here could very well be the shooting suspect that they are looking for, but they, for procedural reasons and policy reasons, they have to refer to this person for now as a person of interest. It would be premature for them to label this person a shooting suspect. So we'll get here to some of the other comments. I'll also tap into, let's go to YouTube here as well. We're live on 3 platforms on social media right now, that being YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Again, if you're just joining us, we will have the FBI press conference, or so we've been told, at 2:45 Eastern. That's when the latest update should be, except for the fact that we're hearing some reports that the FBI might want to push that back by several minutes. So we'll find out, hopefully here relatively soon. So in fact, some new updates are coming in now into the newsroom, and we'll see what these are. And let's see here. Oh my goodness. U.S. Capitol Police are responding to a bomb threat at the DNC headquarters in Washington. It's pandemonium right now, and speaking events for politicians have been canceled. Events have been moved. There's such uneasiness right now in our country beyond just Utah. People, obviously fearful of any copycat behavior or behavior that is inspired, as sick as that might sound, by this event, What you got?
I've just heard that the 245 is canceled.
Oh, okay. So we're now hearing, and who do we have that from?
NBC said their special
All
report
right.
is canceled because that's canceled.
Interesting. So
I'll let you know when I figure something else out.
yes. So NBC News is announcing that they have learned from law enforcement that the 245 press conference, curiously enough, has been canceled. So I'm going to take that down here off of our graphics. So the 245. So first, it was a 245 press conference with the FBI at Utah Valley University. Then they announced it might be delayed, and now they're announcing it's canceled altogether. There is no doubt in my mind, and without speculating too much, there's no doubt in my mind that something obviously has shifted that has led for, again, it's the FBI. The FBI is as buttoned up as an organization as there is. They're very deliberate with their actions, especially to the media and to the press and to the public, I should say, rather. So if they announce a press conference and then they don't, well, look, just keeping it real with you folks, that's for a reason. They announce a press conference for a reason, probably to give an update. And then that is probably unclear to us, or unless sources are talking to certain publications, certain media agencies at the moment. Maybe we get some details here soon. So less than an hour ahead of a planned news conference, the UDOT Department of Public Safety calling off the 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time event, citing rapid developments in our investigation. Authorities saying they will release an updated time later today. Interesting. Okay, so that's according to the Associated Press, and that's interesting. So rapid developments in the case have led them to call off the 2:45 Eastern press conference. And that means that a lot is happening behind the scenes at this moment. Is it related to the person of interest that you see here on your screen? That, I suppose, we will find out relatively soon. Certain publications have already been working sources within, I guess, the Utah law enforcement food chain, if you will. Whether it's at the federal level or the state level or the local level, or maybe some university officials on campus. One of the more interesting ones came out earlier today from the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal reporting that via sources they were informed that the ammunition found in the loaded gun that was used in the assassination of Charlie Kirk was engraved with transgender and anti-fascist ideology. And there had been some murmurs of something like that. To my understanding, this was made clear to me later that there were some murmurs of that on social media, but that the Wall Street Journal, obviously talking to sources and finding out that there was truth to some of those rumors. And so that's what we have as far as that pretty significant report. This has been called a targeted attack. That's old news by now. This was a targeted attack. It was a single shot. It was done from a rooftop about 200 yards away. There was a lot of rooftops in that area at the site of the shooting where Charlie Kirk was speaking for about 3,000 students at Utah Valley University yesterday. And so, but there was video. I've seen the video of people in the crowd pointing their cameras to somebody who was up there on the rooftop, laying down flat. And that's obviously of tremendous concern. I should also point out a really big deal here. The FBI announcing a $100,000 reward in exchange for information leading to identification of the shooter. So a $100,000 reward from the federal government if you provide information that IDs the shooter. And obviously, I would imagine that and leads to an arrest, unless maybe it's not an arrest. I don't know what the fine print is on the actual $100,000 reward, but it's announced as $100,000 in exchange for information leading to identification of the shooter. Sometimes it's the arrest leading to the arrest of the shooter. They're saying just if you ID the shooter, just ID him. $100,000 is the reward from the FBI. Also, another report coming in, Charlie Kirk's casket is going to be flown from Utah to Arizona on Air Force 2 on Thursday. That's according to sources speaking to the Associated Press. And yes, if you missed what we were talking about earlier, a palm print is being analyzed, and that the press conference that we had earlier on from the FBI, they were talking about how they had good video and that they were tracking the movements of the suspect in the really before the shooting had taken place rather than afterwards. Afterwards, it was just chaos. Everybody running, and it would have been, you would imagine, relatively simple for somebody to just kind of slip away in all of that chaos. But the people that were originally detained as people of interest, they were determined to be completely uninvolved and then released. And anyone who, I mean, my goodness, those people have been getting death threats. And look, it's I think it doesn't need to be stated, but that's absolutely ridiculous. People of interest get mixed up into in investigations all the time. And so clearly they're on to the next person of interest, and that person of interest is right here on your screen. If you missed that press conference earlier, here's some of the highlights. We'll be right back in about 60 seconds.
We ask the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects. They were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual.
All right, back here with you live. JB here with you folks. Again, just kind of figuring out what is going on. Because again, if you're just joining us, rapid developments, according to the Associated Press, have just taken place that has led the FBI to cancel a recently announced 2:45 Eastern press conference. Really interesting that moments after the press conference was announced, they announced, in essence, to a few members of the media that it was being delayed, and then ultimately it was called off, all within really half an hour or so, roughly. So that means a lot is happening behind the scenes right now that we aren't privy to, but we're going to stay here with you on stream because with this moving so fast and developing as rapidly as it is, things could change in a hurry real quick. Because without a doubt, sources are going to start talking as to what are those rapid developments, you would imagine. Now, there needs to be some layer of secrecy because it can't compromise the ongoing investigation. If a source within a law enforcement agency or a source at Utah Valley University is speaking to the Wall Street Journal, is speaking to the Washington Post, is speaking to the Los Angeles Times, whatever publication it is, whether it's speaking to NBC, News Nation, or whatever, if that information compromises an ongoing investigation, that's obviously a massive problem. You don't want that to be an obstacle in the pursuit of justice. You're hoping everything here is procedural as can be, but there's going to be a lot of reporters right now reaching out to sources within the FBI, within these various agencies connected to this horrific event and saying, hey, what's the deal? What's going on? Well, you announce a press conference and then now rapid developments are happening. What are the developments? Do you have somebody in custody? What's going on? And perhaps we find out some information here in the short term rather. All right, so here's the deal, everybody. I'm gonna try if I can. Yeah, this is better. All right, look, the name of the program is Hey JB Live. If you use hashtag HeyJB, I'm going to start to bring in your comments on screen. They're scrolling in too fast for me to grab. So if you would like your comment or your question to be featured on screen, I'm going to start now. I'm just going to hit it in here that the only comments that come through are with our hashtag system. So if you use hashtag HeyJB, I can bring your comment into the stream. If you want to voice words of support for the Charlie Kirk family, if you want to have your opinion heard about just the horrific events of the last 24 hours, if you want to ask a question, if you think that something is being overlooked, if you have an observation about the person of interest that you see here on your screen, whatever it may be, just use hashtag HeyJB with your comment, and then as they start to flow in, I will be able, oh look, I'll show you from here from TikTok. That's all you got to do. If you just use the hashtag and then, well, Jackie didn't include a comment. Dom is that, so this is interesting. Dom is asking, hashtag HeyJB, was he a professional? And then I think he went to type in some more and then didn't finish the comment. But all right, there's been a lot of talk on social. I'm a reporter who does not shy away from the talk on social media. And I would like to address it. Was he a professional? You know, there's been a lot of retired Army personnel, military personnel, retired FBI personnel that have been commenting on the idea that this person had professional training. I think the idea of this person being a professional hitman is something that perhaps gets rolled into mass media with movies and stuff like that. But I think the question we should start with, related to what Dom is getting at here, did this person have professional training? There are some members of the law enforcement community that are very active on Twitter that I have a lot of respect for, that basically indicated that there have been a few people that have indicated that at 200 yards, which for a rifle, for the type of rifle that we're talking about here, and for a sniper, at 200 yards on a clear day from a rooftop, an assailant with professional training, and apologies if this is grim for people that are still processing, obviously, the news that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, but the video, if you've seen it on social media, is absolutely horrific and disturbing. But the idea that somebody with military training, somebody with training on a weapon like that at 200 yards clear from a rooftop, if they were... Someone who has military training would likely go for the head. And in this case, it was a shot to the neck. And it didn't miss the neck. It was on the neck. But people have been speculating that if it was somebody with military training of some kind, that person would have targeted the head. And if you had, given the distance, the relatively short distance that it is, somebody with proper military training or proper training of that firearm would have been able to execute a headshot. And the fact that it was a shot to the neck, more than a few people on social media that comment about such matters have stated that it is peculiar that it was a shot to the neck, and that whether or not it was somebody who had some training or, but you know what? I've talked to enough people in FBI circles, in law enforcement, that have said also too that, when you're talking about a situation like this, that nerves also come into play. Could just the moment have led the person to miss if they were targeting the head in this particular instance? It's all speculation without somebody who is here to really talk about it in tremendous detail. But that conversation is really taking place on X and on Reddit. A lot of people who are talking back and forth about the actual logistics of the shot itself, because it was It was that single shot that struck Kirk in the neck, and there's been a lot of conversation as to whether or not the person had any kind of professional training. But so I have D here saying asking about the neck and so I'm not a sniper. I'm not an assassin. I don't have military training. But to my understanding, if you have military training with that style of firearm, and have any experience whatsoever working with sniper equipment, you're going for the head in that instance. That's just what has been communicated by a lot of experts that are talking again on forums like X and Reddit. So, Drippy here is saying in a lot of comments like this, may Charlie Kirk rest in peace, sending prayers to his family and friends. Again, if you use hashtag KJB, you can have your questions or comments featured. And in the meantime, too, I'm also going to be paying attention to updates because, again, if you're just joining us, rapid developments are the reason for a press conference that was first called for, then delayed, and then canceled, which to me is highly curious. Let's see here. Okay, an update on the bomb threat at the Democratic National Convention headquarters, DNC headquarters. The bomb threat is non-credible. You would imagine that there is just heightened security at every government institution and really in the country right now. And you would imagine that I saw a list earlier today and I didn't save it, but there was a list of political events and political speakers that have modified or canceled their plans as a result of what has happened to Charlie Kirk. Not surprising, really, but you would imagine that there's just heightened security everywhere that it's required on a day like today. Also, too, today being 9/11, my goodness, already a somber day in our country. All right. All right. So Love on TikTok says, what's the drawing on his shirt? Is there a drawing here? Let's zoom in and we're going to pause it. All right. Is there a drawing on the shirt? Here. Oop, no, let's go back a little bit. Right. Hold on. Right. Get as close as we can. There. And let's put away the comment. All right. It's clearly a flag and an eagle, right? Can I have some opinions here, guys? You want to come on over here in the stream center? So make sure that you're on my screen over here. Let's play this again. And everybody here, comment section, hashtag KJB if you want to chime in here. What do you see? What's on the shirt?
Looks like an American flag.
Right, that's what okay. So I just want to make sure I'm not the only one seeing that. I see an American flag and an eagle. Do you see anything else? Here, we'll zoom it in a little bit more. So yeah,
Someone else has said that it looks like the disabled veteran seal. I don't see it.
The disabled veteran seal. No, I don't see it. I don't see that either. Zeph wants to know, hashtag HeyJB, do we know the specifics of the gun used? It was a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That was what was announced at the press conference. Holly wants to know, hey, JB, are they saying this could be the shooter or just a person of interest that may have info? Look. Oh, I do?
$10 super chat. They have a picture of that shirt.
That should be off. We don't do super chats. Okay. Yeah. Hey, to anybody who is sending super chats to the station, we appreciate the enthusiasm. That's kind of not what we do. But thank you to whomever it was. Holly, are they saying this could be the shooter? So look, they're not by FBI procedure. What they're going to say is that this is a person of interest. And that's all they're going to say. It would be premature of them to label this person a suspect unless they were 100% sure. And again, I'm not an FBI expert, but I know from covering enough cases and also, too, having a lot of friends in the law enforcement community that I talk to regularly about this type of stuff. They have to, especially the FBI, especially 100% sure that this is the person who pulled the trigger of the high-powered bolt-action rifle that claimed the life of Charlie Kirk. They have to be 100% certain that this is the person, and then they'll call that person the suspect. But if they're not 100% sure, if it's 99% sure, it's a person of interest. So I don't know if this is, Holly, to answer your question, I don't think this is a person of interest that may have info. I think it's a person of interest who's just a person of interest, who is a potential suspect, no doubt. But that's reading the tea leaves. I mean, could this person just, have been in the vicinity and have information? I highly, highly doubt it. SEPA, #AJB, is he caught? Not that we are aware of publicly. But again, rapid developments have been taking place in the last hour. Rapid developments, as it's been called. And so perhaps we find out more. There was a really important question asked at the press conference earlier. If you have a gun, think about all the cases that you don't never find the weapon. People who have followed me for years know the amount of live streaming I did on the Idaho murders with Brian Kohberger. Even though Brian Kohberger will never ever get out of prison, he'll be behind bars for the rest of his life. They still don't have the murder weapon in that case for the 4 University of Idaho students. Here, within an hour, I think, of the shooting taking place, a firearm is retrieved. So you have a massive piece of evidence. You could argue the most important evidence that would lead you to a suspect or a person of interest. But what's missing here is just the link between the gun and how it was acquired or the person who owned it. So a reporter in the room, and I always appreciate it because I've been in the room and I've been the one shouting questions at the podium and usually only get one question in. So this reporter likely only had one question to get in, and the question was the question I would have asked. Have you been able to trace and track that firearm to any individual, whether it was somebody in the past who owned it, sold it at a gun show? Like, what can you tell us about the history of the weapon pertaining to its owners or who's ever laid hands on it? And the FBI they were unable to answer that question publicly. But you would imagine that is, without a doubt, the key and most circumstantial evidence that they have in their possession at this time. So, yeah. All right. LML #KJB, was this a student? So look, Garrett, bring it in. I'm going to ask you here plainly. How old does this guy look to you?
I mean, it's really hard to tell, especially when you get up close. It's a very pixelated photo. My guess would be, I mean, he kind of looks like he could be, I don't know, maybe early 30s would probably be my first thought. But it's hard to tell. I mean, there's not a lot of the face that you can really see here. In this angle, this shot here, I think he looks closer to like a college-age student. But, that first angle that we saw is hard to tell. And even when you zoom into this one, it's nothing's clear about it, which is probably the biggest problem that we have here.
Yeah, it's pixelated. I was saying earlier, I think this is better than a lot of the photos that have been released in other cases that have been on. Sometimes they're way worse, folks. Yeah. I mean, I've seen images that it looks like 4 massive big pixels that it's almost completely impossible to identify the person. And then you ask, why even release the photo? No, these are moderately okay as far as quality goes. It gives us an idea. Here's the thing I think about with this photo. Somebody knows this person. Someone is going to see this photo and say, that's John. I'm just inserting the, anything. That's John right there. That's what it's clear enough that if you know this person, you're going to look at that and be like, oh, wow, I think I know who that is. Right. And then again, $100,000 reward by the FBI if you produce information that leads to identification.
I'm not sure if you've covered this already, JB, but just in case you haven't, or even if you have, it bears repeating, the Utah Department of Public Safety and the FBI both delayed afternoon news conference updates. Part of that, according to NBC News, they are saying that the reason for the delay is due to, quote unquote, rapid developments in the investigation. So we're still waiting on hopefully an updated time for something to come out, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it to you guys.
I'm seeing here some feeds, Garrett. None of these are relevant to Utah, right?
Let me double check for you. I don't believe so, but I'll double check.
Yeah, there's a chopper in the air, but I don't know what that's connected to.
I think I know what that is actually.
Any? Oh no, people who are saying that is anybody? Okay, no. One person said that we're having some bad audio, but hopefully we don't have any bad audio. Fingers crossed.
We can get somebody to check on that, hopefully.
Let's see here. Hey JB, what did you say about the bullet? Again, the Wall Street Journal with a significant report earlier, citing sources close to the investigation, that the ammunition that was found in the firearm used in the assassination of Charlie Kirk was engraved with transgender, anti-fascist ideology, and that of course just further adds to what was reported yesterday, and that this was absolutely a targeted attack. This is a political assassination. This is somebody who was holding a political event on a college campus, and speaking, of course, I'm sure about politics. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember exactly, but wasn't Charlie answering a question about
mass shootings at the time?
About mass shootings at the exact moment.
Somebody, according to reports, somebody in the crowd said something to the effect of, "Do you know how many mass shootings have been committed in this year?" And he was in the middle of answering that question, supposedly, when the shot rang out.
I mean, just can't even imagine. Audio's good?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, you found that, huh? Yeah. Send that. What is that?
It's making the rounds on Twitter. A lot of people are posting this.
I'll just show it. Thank you, Rhett. So, is this the same? I think it is. It looks exactly the same.
It does look very similar.
There's a post on X that's people who have claimed to have found the shirt. It's kind of hard to see, but
yeah, it's hard to see in the screen. But it is American flag with an eagle.
Looks identical.
Right. I mean, it looks pretty much the same.
There's text on the bottom and top. It says "Land of the Free" on top, "Home of the Brave" on the bottom.
Okay, so people wondering if there was anything written on this shirt that communicated any particular ideologies. No. What does it say? Land of the Free, Home of the Brave?
Land of the Free, Home of the Brave.
Yeah. So now look, there's always the chance that the T-shirt doesn't match or was altered, but if that T-shirt...
They're very similar if they're not the same shirt. I mean, just from seeing the two photos, it's almost unmistakable.
I'm not going to shy away from this comment. I'm really open with taking comments from all different angles on social media here, folks, when I do live streaming. I stick by that. Candy Love says, it looks as if it can be a woman or trans. Now, that's obviously always a possibility. I thought it was curious that in the FBI's press conference, they identified the suspect as a he. It was several times. Is it possible that this person is a woman or trans? That we're not looking at a male individual? It's obviously it's entirely possible.
It's also important to make the distinction that they were talking about in the press conference. They were referencing a possible suspect as a he, but that this photo is a person of interest. They have not labeled this person.
Right. So the
as
photo,
a suspect.
right.
So,
In the release itself, they don't
Right.
label it as a male or female or really of any gender or sexual orientation of any kind.
not that I'm aware of. I can
Right.
try and find it to make sure.
I emailed you that link if you want
Oh.
that full quality image.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. So then that leads Aubrey. I appreciate you asking this question because I was wondering the same. So what's on his hat? I wonder if the ex-sleuths out there, those on Reddit, have we seen anything about the hat making the rounds and so forth?
I'll keep posted.
All right, yeah, we're
It's a very small,
tiny.
tiny image. If there's anything there,
It looks like a symbol.
maybe a logo.
Yeah, logo or symbol.
I mean, I'm not saying that this is what it is, but it looks. Oh yeah, now that you've zoomed in a little bit more, it almost looks like. Is that Adidas? Do they make hats? Well, it's something like almost like an A style logo to me, at least when I'm looking at it.
Looks like a triangle in this.
Right? Yeah, triangle could be.
Be careful, there's a lot of AI enhanced images floating around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a whole other thing. Is AI images are making our jobs, just exorbitantly difficult. Somebody says it looks like the Adidas logo on Facebook.
Yeah.
Kellyanne here asking, what's my opinion on this? I want to be clear. The whole purpose of this whole Hey JB franchise is simply to spotlight your opinions. The whole idea is that on the news, so often do we not spotlight the opinions of our audience enough? And the whole point of this live stream is to spotlight your opinions. That's quite literally why I'm clicking on comments and bringing them up on screen. But I will echo the comments of so many that political violence in this country cannot be tolerated. And you might believe that Charlie Kirk is the most aligned with your views and think of him as one of the bright, charismatic and future political stars of our country, or you might think the exact opposite. It doesn't matter. Political violence should never be tolerated in our country. Yes, what do you have?
I'm not sure about it yet. Do you have access to Megaphone over there?
I do. Yeah.
Just check what we recently just got in. I'm not sure on the source on it, but I thought you might be wanted to look at that really quickly.
Yeah. So if you want to send in stuff directly, this is what Garrett's looking at here, by the way. If you want to send in something directly to the Stream Center and not get lost in the comments that are scrolling endlessly on our social media platforms, you can go to heyjb.live in your browser. Just type in www.heyjb.live, and then there's a form that pops up. There's no gimmicks. There's no gotcha moments or anything. We're not looking for your information. But you can send in something directly to our computers here, and it pops up on our screen, and it gets our attention. So let me look at that, Garrett, and see what you're referencing. Loading now. I mean, this. Okay, I'll just address what it is.
Right.
A lot of upscaling happening there.
Yeah. Look. So to anyone who is sending in photos of a potential suspect because they think it matches the description, I'm getting throwbacks. This is reminding me of Petito coverage when we had every person with a lean build, shaved head, and some facial hair get accused of being Brian Laundrie. And we had hundreds, if not thousands, of photos sent in of people matching that description and saying, hey, we found the person. No, well, that's not how this works, everybody. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but that's not exactly how this works. And also, too, if you did have a photo of the suspect, you're sending it to a newscaster and not send it to the FBI. That's the right way to do it, is to send it into the FBI. And also, too, don't just send in anything to the FBI. An erroneous tip is just going to make the FBI's gargantuan task of going through all these tips that much more muddled. So do everybody a favor and only send it into the FBI if it's a really credible, authentic, and helpful piece of information that the FBI can use to get to the bottom of this. Sarah, yeah, the only comments I refrain from putting up are comments that are throwing like an outlandish theory out there that's not really rooted in reality. I see what you're saying. Could the bullet have ricocheted it by things that I have seen? That I don't see any evidence to suggest that the bullet was anything other than directly fired from a high-powered bolt-action rifle, just like the FBI described in their press conference this morning. All right, so we have a lot of people who are saying it's a certain logo. The Volcom logo? Volcom, is that a brand? What is on the hat? Volcom logo. Oh, okay, all right, maybe. Amanda, with is it a Volcom like? Also, is it a hat? Like, is it a?
It is a hat. You can see the bill of the hat there.
Yeah, but is it like a?
It looks like a ball cap.
Yes, is it a baseball cap?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
In the front shot, it's hard to tell. In the front shot, it almost looks like a beanie, but when you see from the side, you can see the bill of the hat, just kind of poking out. You can kind of see there too.
Doesn't it look like it's covering his ears? Oh no, maybe not. It's kind of, this is where the pixelation, the blurriness.
This angle is where you can see that's
pretty clearly a baseball cap. Yeah. It's just the other. It's funny because I looked at it the first time on the previous image. I thought it was a beanie. I thought it was wearing a beanie, and then this one, clearly a baseball cap. So the Volcom logo.
I mean, it could be the Adidas logo. Both of those are very triangular. It looks like a brand logo of some type.
Dylan with a great idea. Hey JB, can you try to Google search the logo?
I don't think that's clear enough.
It's not.
Yeah.
A reverse image search is super helpful, and AI is actually semi-beneficial for stuff like this. But when it's so low res, Dylan, I don't know. I don't think so. People who are saying it could be the Nautica logo or the Quicksilver logo.
Pretty much any skater brand apparently is what we're getting references here.
Yeah, and I worry that we're typecasting this individual, this person of interest. But there's a lot of different theories out there as to what kind of logo this is. Let's check if any updates that we've seen about like the press conference
I've been looking and I have not found anything updating that, at least not yet. So as soon as we get something, I'll let you know. But everything that we have seen so far is the same, which is just that they were delayed due to quote unquote rapid developments involving the investigation.
So let's bring up Madison's comment here. Ammunition was engraved with messages of transgender and anti-fascist ideology. What messages? Has there been any update to that report?
Let me see if I can find something for you.
Yeah, I'm looking here too, because we're looking for you, Madison, because that was how it was described when the report originally broke from the Wall Street Journal. But no, I mean, all I am seeing is contained ammunition engraved with expressions of transgender and anti-fascist ideology. And this is according to an internal law enforcement bulletin that was picked up by the Wall Street Journal. And what that looks like, I mean, I really don't know. And also, too, how small it would have to be written and how it would be engraved. I mean, there's so many different questions. How it was found in the casing itself. That's going to be there's no doubt going to be a follow-up to that, Madison. And I for one, too, am curious as to what that amounts to. All right. This is interesting. And, it's crazy you have to think about these types of things now. So Ashton says, "Hey JB, kind of looks like he has the Meta recording glasses on." I don't know. Do those look like those glasses? I know. We have somebody here at the station that uses those glasses, and I was with him yesterday, but it doesn't look like it to me.
I mean, the problem with those is that the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, they're just a pair of Wayfarers. Really, you can almost not tell that they're any type of tech unless you really look up close, right at the kind of the top corners of the eyewear, where you can see the cameras. I mean, those look more. Wow, those almost look more like aviators, or like, I don't know, maybe like the heavy duty glasses that you wear when you're doing like outdoor work. I don't know what the, like Oakley's or something like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. It doesn't really look like the Meta glasses to me, at least.
That's another interesting one from Sean on YouTube. Saying hello to everybody on YouTube, Facebook Live, and TikTok Live. It's good to have you with us again. We wish under better circumstances. Producer Garrett Phillips there on the right, JV Buno here with you on the left, and we're here. We thought we would be into a FBI press conference by now, but the FBI press conference was first delayed and then pushed back. And we're going to stay with you live for another hour or so in the hope that we get some significant update because, again, the press conference was canceled. The 2:45 Eastern press conference canceled because of what's been described as rapid developments. So if there's rapid developments happening behind the scenes right now, it's only a matter of time. Trust me, having done this for as long as I have, it's only a matter. Yeah, it'll zoom in here again.
Yeah.
There.
I think you can even see it a little bit better.
The indentation on his right shoulder.
And you can see it a little bit better in the other photo too. It looks like there is a clear like cliff or an edge to right there on his left shoulder, where it looks like there is something either right on top of that is the same color as that shirt or right under the shirt that is pushing it up a little bit. So I mean, it could very well be a backpack.
Another significant key thing to wonder about with these photos is when they were taken. I mean, are we talking about, because they were able to track the suspects, or excuse me, let's get that right. They were able to track the suspects' whereabouts really before the shooting took place. We don't know if this is the suspect. We've only been told this is a person of interest. So whether or not those two people are the same for the as far as the semantics of this argument, I really don't know. But it's really important to note that the person was tracked up to the rooftop. That was made clear by the FBI in the morning press conference. Where they lost the person, the shooter, was in the aftermath when all that chaos happened. So we don't know if the person of interest here and the shooter, who we've been obviously talking about for the last 24 hours, are the same person. But if they are these photos from before the shooting or after the shooting? You would imagine before. But
yeah, it's hard to tell. You can't really speculate about it. What we do know, I believe it's been said that the suspect reportedly fled from the roof. I think jumped off the roof was what I saw, and fled. So, this photo doesn't seem like he's jumping off a roof. It doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't taken. It could be taken an hour later after the shooting, for all we know. Yeah, again, even if it's the same guy, we don't know if it's the same guy. So it's a lot of questions still to be asked, and I'm just trying here to monitor and hope for some kind of update on when we might actually hear from law enforcement. They did say, according to AP, they did say that an update would come out later on Thursday, which is later today, but they did not give a time frame on that, as far as I'm seeing.
Brenda on Facebook. And again, for those of you who are looking to comment towards us, you can use hashtag HeyJB. Another way is to go to, if you want to really get our comment, your comment on screen. And I see a few of them coming in here now. You can go to heyjb.live and submit a VIP comment there. That kind of flashes on my screen and is a little bit more animated. But to Brenda's comment, that's a good point. There's a possibility he could have changed clothing before the shooting or after to get away. Yeah. Garrett, if you, it's really hard to put yourself in the mind of somebody that would do something so evil, right? Like claim another life and to orchestrate it out for what had to have been an extended period of time, right? I think it's relatively fair to say that the odds are this person didn't just wake up yesterday morning and decide that they were going to carry out an assassination of somebody, like Charlie Kirk. This, in all likelihood, if you're playing the game of odds, this is something that was planned out, pre-planned. And if you're going to take the time, and if you have half a brain, and you're going to plan this out, chances are the clothing that you use to carry out a shooting like this, any shooting rather, you're going to probably want to change your clothes afterwards and do everything you can to change up your appearance to elude capture. Right?
I mean, you don't even have to take that speculation to what it is. You could say if you were going to rob a bank, if you were going to do any type of crime that you could do any type of serious, have any serious consequence to, you probably are going to plan out something to do afterwards.
To get away.
Especially, and exactly. And if you don't do that, you're probably getting caught pretty quickly.
So don't expect to stroll into your Utah 7-Eleven and find somebody with this exact shirt on and this exact hat on. I mean, I'm sure it's entirely possible, and it's a good starting point. It's better to have, but I mean, there's in all likelihood that this person is not wearing the same clothing that they did at the time of the shooting. Okay, so let's continue on. Let's get to some of the VIP comments that are coming in on heyjb.live. And as soon as they load up, here they are. Okay. Oh, that's why. Sorry, you guys. Let me hit one button. We'll clear that out. And then I have to clear that out. That's right. Okay, let's try that one more time. And we'll get in some of the comments over there. Jeez, there's so many. Okay. I don't know if they're scrolling in so fast. I don't even think I can get to them. Come on. Scroll. Can I? Everybody stand by for a second. Technical difficulties. I'm trying to get those comments loaded up.
Yeah, I'm continuing to look for any updates that we've... Oh,
Sorry, that was loud.
That was loud.
That was a loud button. I'm hitting random buttons here to fix my problem, and then it's just not working.
No, I mean, that's normally how it works.
It's
whenever
just
you're doing
not
live,
working.
Right? When you're live streaming, it's kind of how troubleshooting works. Just to reiterate, as we're sitting here trying to figure out how to bring these comments back up, the FBI.
So the VI. Okay, so here's the problem that's coming in. If you submit a VIP comment to heyjb.live, you have to actually use hashtag heyjb with your comment there too. That's the problem that where it's not breaking through. And my profound apologies for that. I promise you that if you go to heyjb.live and you submit a comment there that you really want to get our attention with, if you actually use hashtag heyjb with your comment there, it will populate. Jimothy, this is interesting. It's more like 150 yards max from the distance of the building. Yeah, I had heard some different numbers. I had heard 200 yards. There was some kind of a breakdown in a rendering that we had. Let's see if we can bring that up. It was somewhere. Here it is. I think it was an approximation. So they're here. Let's go. Can I go full screen? Let's go full screen. And we'll put away the comment. Here's a rendering. Shooter's location. And then there is Kirk's location. They're on the left. About 200 yards. That's according to this rendering that was put together by friends at a partner agency of ours. But if it was more like 150, that makes the shot even that much more makeable, no? To the point that we were making earlier?
Yeah, for what it's worth, NBC News about an hour ago, with comments from former ATF agents, said that it was about 2 football fields, which would be about 200 yards, about 200 yards distance, and they said the expert that they spoke with said that whoever the shooter was probably wasn't an expert marksman. In fact, you don't really have to be anymore because of how powerful these weapons have become. That a person with minimal training and a high quality scope, could hit a target that's small at a 200-yard distance, which is kind of what they were saying. So they're saying 200 yards as well. I think 200 is probably about the best guess we currently have.
Lizzie here this is the first VIP comment that we have coming in, and we'll stick with those exclusively for a little while. Hey, JB, where were these photos taken in comparison to the scene, or do we not know yet? No, we do not know yet where these photos were taken from. Now, if we had some eagle-eyed Utah Valley University students on, they might be able to identify, like, hey, I think that's this lecture hall, or that might be this stairwell. But it's like, I mean, here, let's go back to those photos, because actually, no, I hit the wrong button. Let's go to the photos here. And yeah, I mean, maybe somebody recognizes that staircase, but man, that's tough.
I mean, it looks like almost every staircase in any stadium or
it does.
Facility that you could,
or my college where I went to school. Like it kind of looks like that too. Macy, #HeyJB on HeyJB.live. Could this person be anywhere in the U.S.? How fast can you get out of the country in 24 hours? Real fast.
Yeah, I mean, in Utah, I can't. I mean, it's certainly possible. I think, right?
Could you drive? I guess I would imagine that Canada's a lot closer than Mexico, right?
Of course.
For Utah. So we're talking about Utah Valley University.
According to Google, that drive is like 29 to 30 hours.
To Canada?
I guess because if you have to pass through certain checkpoints. No, that can't be right.
That can't be right.
Let me see if I can find a better chart on that.
Okay, hold
source
on.
on that.
Directions. I'm trying to find like the. All right, so I'm gonna find a rent. What is it?
9 hours.
9 hours.
Thank you, meteorologist Eric Stone. It's always good to have the smart meteorologists here in the Stream Center with us. 5 hours, you said?
9.
Oh, I'm sorry, 9 hours. And also, I'm clearly deaf. So 9 hours. Yeah. So you could have been there by morning. If you got in your car amidst all the chaos and you were just driving as far as you could to get away. I mean, look, I would imagine you can't really drive 9 hours. You could drive 9 hours continuous.
Oh, easy.
I mean, look, normal people stop for bathroom breaks and to eat or stretch their legs or maybe get some gas. Yeah. But again, we're not talking about a normal person. We're talking about somebody who just carried out a heinous act of political violence.
Well, when you say drive continuous, I mean, stopping for gas, I don't think most people would probably consider stopping for gas as part of the driving continuous. I think when you talk about, stopping, you would think stopping at like a hotel or someplace for the night. But driving overnight, stopping only once or twice to fill up your tank, a 9-hour drive doesn't seem like it's that unreasonable.
It's interesting. I actually thought that Mexico was farther. It is, yeah. And it is. It is farther. So it's about. I thought it was going to be like a 20-hour drive, but no, you can make it from Utah Valley University to the Mexican border in about 12 hours. So in all likelihood, you would drive north. Is that right, though?
Utah's a little bit more in the center of the state than it is north or south. I mean, not center of it as in, the direct center, but more, it's a little, just slightly farther north than it is south when you're talking about the
we will move on from this conversation. I'm sure people are bored of this conversation by now, but just give me 1 second. Yeah, okay, so 9 to 10 hours to Canada. and about 12 hours to Mexico. All right, so yes. Could this person be anywhere in the U.S.? Yeah, they could be out of the U.S. They could be international. I mean, you would hope that, it's not the case, but you want justice. Let's see here. Let's check for any updates in the meantime. We'll get to some more.
I've been looking. I still have not seen anything.
Yeah, things have.
Recent.
You know what's interesting? It's interesting. Things have gone quiet. There was an update, a significant report or an update or something new that had trickled out like every 20 to 30 minutes for really the large portion of the day. And now like the last hour has been eerily quiet.
Yeah, the news of the delay came down somewhere around 2:07. So about 70 minutes ago.
Yeah, things have gotten really just oddly quiet. And that, I don't know. Not going to say it. All right, let's see here. Austin. Hey, JB, there was a TikTok report of an unmarked off-radar airplane fly off the local airport 25 minutes after the shooting. What's your opinion? And as somebody who knows people, and when it comes to air traffic, I can assure you this can happen more than you would realize. That where an aircraft isn't fully tracked. And you lose connection with an aircraft, that certainly sounds suspicious. I'll give you that, Austin. But I don't know. There's so many other things that could be related to. I just, of course, the timing of it makes it highly suspicious. I get that, but from my understanding and talking to people, I have a friend of mine who I have multiple friends that are pilots, and I've asked them stuff about this over the years, and it happens. It's not like crazy common, but it happens. So let's see. Wow. Well, I'll just bring this up. Rachel, joining us from the UK. We were talking earlier about how people are following this around the world. Well, hello to our friends, including Rachel in the UK. Arnaldo on Facebook Live. Any more information on the engraving on the rounds? No, not that I have seen thus far, but that we were talking about that earlier. That's quite that. That's significant evidence. It tells you something more about who carried out this horrific act, and so. Perhaps law enforcement can use that, and some type of forensics can be exploited to help that be a clue of consequence. So Gunnar, I appreciate your comment, Gunnar. Gunnar says, I'm a pilot, and if it's an untowered airport, it's very common. Yeah, no, I mean, so I said, I don't know how common it is. There you go. Gunnar saying it's with an untowered an airport without a dedicated, air traffic control tower, that it's going to be very common. But then that brings up, was it an untowered airport? But I guess we'll find that more later. Find out more about that later. Rebecca, any update on word from the FBI? Yeah, Rebecca, if you hear anything from the FBI, you let us know. We have not heard anything from the FBI. It's gone quiet. Not to say that there was all of this chatter from the FBI previously over the course of the day, but there was a lot of this. There was this trickle of information that was coming out, like the Wall Street Journal report and some others that were just finding their way out to the public, and that trickle has really stopped. I mean, I'm not seeing too much.
No, I haven't seen anything.
I've been scanning endlessly the last hour, and there's two ways to look at it. That means that there's a lot happening behind the scenes and something big is about to happen, or that it's just purely a coincidence, and it's just a slow portion of the day. But you can't really say that it's a slow portion of the day because we know that rapid developments have occurred leading to the cancellation of the 2:45 Eastern press conference. So, I don't know. Let's see here. Let's go back to some of the megaphone comments. So to heyjb.live, you can send in your comments there, and we'll try to take as many of those. Tori on heyjb.live. Justice for Charlie. We should be able to speak truth without being in fear of getting killed. This world is evil. It certainly feels like an evil world today. It does. I have friends and family. I think I'm like a lot of people. I don't know about you, Garrett, but my family, I have family that's on all sides of the political spectrum. You know, I have family on the left, I have family on the right, I have family down the middle. And when this is just one of those things where my phone blew up and people just were flabbergasted that something like this could happen, and that they were just alarmed, and it was deeply disturbing. Also, too, and we had some shots earlier of Charlie and his wife and daughter. You know that, you know, this is an American family that has been decimated because of political violence. It's a tough pill for anyone to swallow. It doesn't matter your political ideologies. This is just. You know, I think many of us, I think we're guilty of taking our political freedoms for granted, the ability to just be able to say whatever you want to say. And Charlie Kirk went up there in front of a crowd of thousands and said what he wanted to say about his viewpoints on the country, and was shot and killed for it. And it's one of the most anti-American things that could possibly happen is speaking your mind, speaking your opinion, speaking on your viewpoints of our country, and losing your life for it. Josh, what makes this guy a suspect? Not a suspect. Not a person of interest. It's quite normal for people to see these images and say, oh my God, the FBI is a suspect. And yeah, all right, we're getting into labels and we're getting into terminology here and semantics.
I do have an update.
Which guy?
According to NBC News, FBI Director Kash Patel is on his way to Utah. According to the Utah Department of Public Safety, he is expected to hold a joint presser with law enforcement upon arrival.
Upon arrival. Where was he?
That's a great question. I'm seeing if I can find any more info. That is just... that is all we know, at least from the NBC News report. Let me see if I can find anything that is updating that. Yeah, just to reiterate it one more time, FBI Director Kash Patel on his way to Orem, Utah. According to the Utah Department of Public Safety,
thank you,
he's expected to hold a joint presser with law enforcement when he arrives. According to NBC News.
No chance that was the reason the press conference was canceled, right?
I think that if you're, and this is purely speculation, I think if you're having the FBI director come to hold a joint presser, I think that maybe you have something more to offer than just a reward. Maybe whether that be more information or whether they have, this person of interest in custody. I don't know for sure. We won't know until they get up in front of a microphone and they tell us what it is. But, an hour ago we heard that they had delayed this presser so that they could, because of rapid developments in their investigation. Now we're hearing the FBI director himself is going to be in Utah and holding that joint presser when they arrive. So I think that means that we might get to hear what those rapid developments are.
Right.
And in fact, I'm going to go step away real quick to see if I can't get any more info for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Producer Garrett Phillips here with us in the Stream Center, everybody. I want to know where Kash Patel was before this, so we can find out. If he's coming from DC, maybe we get an idea as to how long it'll take before he makes his way over to Utah. A VIP comment into HeyJB.live. How long do you think the shooter had this planned? You have no idea. I think the most important question, and a question I want to be fully transparent, I do not have the answer to at my fingertips. And maybe this is something I can have Garrett or one of our team members look into, is when exactly the Charlie Kirk event was announced. Because if this is a suspect who, and again, I'm not referencing the suspect in the pictures. That's a person of interest. But I'm talking about the shooting suspect now. The shooting suspect, you would imagine that's the window. That's the window of preparation that you have, is once the event is announced that Charlie is coming to that campus, Utah Valley University, that's the window that the person has to prepare. Now, if Charlie announced it 3 months ago, doesn't necessarily mean that the person prepared for 3 months. Could have been 3 weeks. But no. How long do I think? It's August. That was pretty quick. You found that out.
August 27th is what's being looked at is when they first started promoting it.
Okay. So they started. What I think we'd say they started heavily promoting it in late August.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding here. I'll try and.
So that's interesting.
Because it was a tour, so it was a whole
Right.
lineup.
Right. But was the tour lineup announced before that, and they promoted Utah Valley University later?
I'll try and find it for you.
Yeah, thanks. The person to me. Yeah, Rachel, I agree. Horrific. And the video's disturbing, you guys. There's video of it. And if you know the video, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, it's horrific, man. It's just absolutely horrific. There's been a lot of content platforms that have taken steps to take it down, but it's so difficult to take down and keep down. So it's deeply disturbing video. And just hope that kids don't see it. Kids are on social media. It's just deeply disturbing video to see what actually happened. There's so many. Look, I'll address this. I'm not going to animate the comments. I don't care if you go to the website, heyjb.live. There are these comments with conspiracy theories and people being in on it and it being this orchestrated event. And I've seen some comments in this comment section about it being a paid for job. All these comments that are coming in from all over the place. This conspiracy theories are going to run rampant on social media. As somebody who does reporting and has done reporting for many years on a live stream, it is my responsibility, my duty to tell you, do not believe everything that you read. Understand that this is where conspiracy theories, fester from. It's from moments of uncertainty. It's when people don't know. And also, it can start as something as what appears to be as innocent as a question. And then a question can roll into a theory. And then a theory can roll into, a widespread rumor. And then a widespread rumor, before you know it, gets reposted, reshared, retweeted, whatever the language is, as fact or as what we're supposed to believe is fact. Always ask yourself, especially in today's day and age, ask yourself, what I am reading, where did it come from? What is the source? And question its authenticity. Because if you don't, you're going to be guilty of spreading the same misinformation that others have and that has reached your particular feed. So JC wants to know how many people have access to that rooftop, or is it restricted access? I think all rooftops are restricted. For example, here at WFLA, we have a beautiful building in downtown Tampa, Florida. I can't just go to the roof. In fact, I have a key card that won't let me go to the roof. I went one time. Actually, what was it? We went to the roof. You and I think it was, what was it? It was like
Yeah, we went
2 months ago.
Maybe
and I'd be
so,
like,
yeah.
I had never been up here. And it's restricted. But it just because we were, with
the one person.
the one person who had access and said, hey, you ever been to the roof? I said, no. But like that, I don't have access to the roof of the building that I've worked in for many years. I would imagine that even a student, and I'm just, guessing here, but I'm just mad. A student can't just be allowed to go up on the roof of a building. So to JC's question, how many people had roof access? I don't know. But I think what JC is getting at is how would this person have gained access to the roof? Because to the point I just made, you and I can't get to the roof in this building without a key card, that scans us to the roof access point. So people are going to ask, okay, is it the same way on this building? Did somebody have to have access? But you know what, though? Could have been a door left open or
one forced open. There's
one forced open. Yeah.
There's plenty of ways to do
Somebody with means, they're going to find a way. That actually goes into the question earlier about how much time did they have to plan this. And yeah. Ricketts on TikTok Live wants to know, hey, JB, do you know where Kash Patel was? Do we know?
I have not found out yet. No, I'm trying to. We have only really gotten what we've gotten from NBC. We don't even have an ETA on when he might arrive. I would not expect, by the time he gets there and they have everything is set up, I would not expect the press conference to be within the next half hour. But I do not know. I don't have a timeline for you yet. I'm trying to figure that out.
It sounds like they're ready to hold a press conference and they're waiting for Patel to make it. I mean, that's how I read it, but could be wrong. Or maybe they really did earlier on have those rapid developments that.
They were. What we know is that they were ready for a press conference to occur around 2:45, and say 30, 45 minutes before that, they pushed it back. They said that rapid developments in the case essentially caused them to delay the presser and that they would hold something or that they would give us an update later on in the day. Now we know the FBI director is en route to the location, that they will hold a joint press conference with the FBI and the Department of Public Safety in Utah. And I can't imagine that they would do that just to tell us what we already know, just to say, hey, here's a photo. Hey, here's the reward. I would imagine they're going to bring some new information.
Tawny on heyjb.live on the website. What do we know about the shooter's motives? Nothing. We have this in the orbit of the shooter's motive. We have this new piece of knowledge, which is the Wall Street Journal report, which claims that via sources that spoke to them, that the bullet or the ammunition rather that was found in the gun after the shooting had taken place, that ammunition was engraved with transgender and anti-fascist ideology. That's how it was described. Whether or not that is connected to a motive in particular, whether or not that report is accurate, there's look, this is a developing news story. We're in a breaking news situation. There's so few certainties out there. And I think it's important to be responsible and remember that.
FBI Director Kash Patel at 2:32, so about an hour ago, on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, said, "An honor to join the 9/11 memorial this morning in Ground Zero." So it looks like he was in New York.
In New York. So
yeah, and that is the most recent message that he has put out outside of the photos of the person of interest and the reward offer, which he had retweeted on his X account. But yeah, he was in New York earlier this morning or earlier today, and now is on his way to Utah for this.
To Tori's comment
conference
that came in via the website, the person, you're saying the person got away with it. The person hasn't gotten away with it yet. I mean, this is an active manhunt. There's a lot we don't know. So I understand what you're saying, but you have to let this progress. We're not there yet. Theo, can you give a brief description of all the new stuff that has come out today on this shooting? Yeah, we can. It began with a press conference this morning. In fact, what I'm going to try to do is we're going to try to rack up that press conference here, and I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to play it again from the live stream earlier. Actually,
while you're setting that up, if you'd like, I can give you a quick brief.
We should start there,
summary.
Theo. I think that's really important. Yeah, you want to start with the summary, and I'll rack that up.
I can absolutely do that. So yeah, according to NBC News earlier today, and of course according to our own reporting, authorities at a press conference earlier described the shooter as of college age. They asked the public for help in identifying a person of interest in the shooting. Again, maybe two different people, the person of interest and the suspected shooter. They did release the photos, which you can see here on your screen, of the suspect, or not the suspect, I'm sorry, of the person of interest in the shooting. They also are offering a reward of up to $100,000 for information that is leading to the identification and arrest of the individual or individuals involved. They also said today that they have recovered the firearm used in the shooting. It was recovered in a wooded area, which they described, the firearm, not the area, as a high-powered bolt-action rifle. A footprint was also recovered, according to NBC News. And now we know is that they were going to hold a press conference earlier, about 2:45. The Utah Department of Public Safety and the FBI, that was delayed. And now we are learning that FBI Director Kash Patel, who was in New York earlier today for the 9/11 memorial, he is now on his way to Orem, Utah, where he is expected to join the Utah Department of Public Safety for a joint news conference after the quote-unquote rapid developments in the case had delayed their previous planned press conferences.
All right, so let's play the press conference. Again, it's important to note that this was earlier on today. This is about 9:15 or so this morning. They started a little bit late. It was like 9:08, somewhere in that time frame. So let's find that point in time where it started.
For releasing them.
Here it is.
Robert
and we'll listen in.
R.O. yesterday. We will be able to take a couple of questions after they are done speaking,
mics.
but it will be short in order to stay in tune with the president speaking at 9:45. So I'll go ahead and introduce Commissioner Bo Mason.
Again, this was from this morning.
Good morning. I am Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety. I'd be remiss if we didn't start off today and recognize the significance of the day. Historically, on 9/11, law enforcement has come together as a group to recognize and honor those that sacrificed to preserve the ideals of this country, the freedoms of this country. And instead, we find ourselves today hunting a murderer who chose to violate our rights, the rights of an individual within this country. Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they face scrutiny, they face threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock. All day yesterday, through the night last night, investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we are confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately. Last night I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual. Having walked through the crime scene, through the hallways of this school, through the classrooms, I can't imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear. Can't overstate the tragedy and the horrific event that yesterday was, and how we will work to bring to justice the actions of one individual or any other individuals that assisted in that. Our state has gone through a lot, and we will come out successful. With that, I'll turn the time over to Special Agent Bowles in charge.
Good morning. My name is Robert Bowles, and I am the Special Agent in charge of the Salt Lake Field Office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people. It's to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Any attack on the First Amendment is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy. That is why we will relentlessly pursue this case and the shooter until we find him. We also continue to grieve with the family and the community. It's our community. If you have any video or images from the shooting, we ask you to please submit them to our digital media tip website at www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley Shooting. You can also call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We truly rely on the public's help in these types of cases, and no tip is too small or insignificant. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what I'll release about the suspect is suspect blended in well with a college institution. We're not releasing many details right now, and we will soon. But right now we're not. But that individual appears to be of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual. If we're unsuccessful in identifying them immediately, we will reach out for the public's help and the media's help in pushing those photos. That was a new development overnight, working through the night, studying those cameras. So that's something that's new and that we're working through right now. As far as the security, I cannot speak to that. Neither the Department of Public Safety nor the Federal Bureau of Investigation was involved in the planning or security of this event, and that'll have to be a question later for other agencies.
So that's a good question, and it's a question that goes to the safety of the community, right? No, not in those woods. We've walked through those woods and secured it. As to the community, I can tell you that this was a targeted event. We don't believe that the community is at risk. However, we are exhausting every resource to find him, and we will do so. So I can't comment specifically on his face or any details such as that, as it's continuing to be a part of the investigation, and again, we'll release that shortly. However, we're doing everything we can to find him, and we're not sure how far he has gone yet, but we will do our best. We have images of the suspect. Again, as part of the investigation, we're not releasing any details such as that right now. We are exhausting all of our resources to be able to collect those, but that's, again, part of the investigation. Excuse me? We are working on that, but again, part of the investigation that I can't release. Not at all. We've got complete and total support from everyone from the director on down, and it's been an incredible supportive environment so far. All I can say is that we're working the investigation the best we have with the environment we're given. So thank you.
So that was the press conference this morning. That was, I said it then, I'll say it now. It was a good amount of information from the FBI. The FBI doesn't have a reputation for giving out a lot of info. And, that was a lot, from the palm print to the firearm being found in the woods. There was a lot description of the gun, which was a high-power bolt-action rifle. There was a lot that was given out in that press conference relative to other FBI press conferences. So if you're just joining us, you saw that press conference. That was the morning press conference. We were anticipating a 2:45 Eastern press conference that was ultimately canceled due to rapid developments taking place with the case. And now, of course, learning that FBI Director Kash Patel is on his way to Orem, Utah, and will be holding a joint news conference with law enforcement when he does arrive. It's not like he's going to get off the plane and just start speaking. He's probably going to rendezvous with law enforcement, speak to them in private, and then you would imagine then come out for the press conference whenever they're ready to do so. So as far as a time, we do not have a time for that press conference. Listening back and now having these images, Garrett, there was one thing that I thought of. The FBI releases these images, and we're zooming in here. It's the best quality we've got. I wonder if they have the video. And if you do have video, why not just release the video? Because are these snapshots from video? Because the way that somebody walks, the way that, their mannerisms, their body language could assist the public in knowing who this person is. Obviously, you get so much more detail and so many more things to pick up on in video. So if these are surveillance camera images, are they images that were taken from video? And if so, why not release the video? These are things, I'm thinking about now. I didn't really think about earlier. But are there surveillance cameras that are now just capturing snapshots? That aren't just getting video? But I wonder if anybody in the chat, folks, we're going to be on stream for another 5 minutes or so. Another 5 minutes in this particular live stream. So this is the last call for questions and comments. You can use hashtag HeyJB to have your comment featured on screen. But we're about to send things off to the 4 o'clock news here at WFLA.
As you mentioned earlier, JB, too, the possible timeline for when this press conference could happen. We had talked about, obviously, as you said, once they arrive, they're going to have to take some time to kind of regroup, to get everything straight, to get to the location where the press conference is going to happen. It's not like it's going to happen probably at the tarmac at the airport or anything like that. And also, we know that FBI Director Patel was in New York this morning. That's a 5-hour flight. He's got, assuming that this information that we have about 30 minutes ago, we learned he was en route. We don't know when he took off. Could have taken off at noon. Could have taken off at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
If it's a 5-hour flight, we might not get a joint presser until later this evening. So it's really kind of up in the air as to when we're going to learn more. But we do know that we should learn more by the end of tonight.
So April brings up a really great point. We're going to kind of rapid fire through these because we don't have a lot of time. April, hey, JB, during the press conference, they referenced him as a suspect, but the pic is a person of interest. Yes, I think procedurally, with the release of these photos, they have to say it's a person of interest. And yes, during the press conference, they did say they had images. So
They did say, too, during the press conference that they had images of the suspect that they weren't going to release. They released these, I believe, a little while after that, calling this one this person here a person of interest. Technically, we do not know if the images they have that they call the suspect, and then the images they released here are the same person. For all we know, they could be two separate individuals. So it's a bit premature, I think, to say one way or the other whether this is the same pictures.
Fred says, hey, JB, what punishment do you think the shooter should get? I'm not a judge, but I will tell you that Utah has the death penalty, and that's obviously what would be pursued if the shooter is apprehended. Let's see here. We just did, kind of summarize the information from the press conference, and Garrett did a good job of summarizing the information before the press conference. Yeah, look, quick, does he look older to you? We talked about this earlier. Again, they say that, it looks like somebody who is younger.
They said he blended in with the college crowd.
Right. I mean, again, they have images of a suspect. They release these images. We believe these images are one and the same. We don't have a definitive, emphatic statement that they are one and the same. But we based on our understanding of the situation, they are one and the same. That's all we can go off of right now. And Quick says, does he look older to you? I mean, that's what I said at the beginning of the stream. He looked like, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s.
I would say early 30s. But again, it's hard to tell. I mean, look how pixelated this image is.
It's hard to tell.
It's very hard to tell any details about this man.
OT tips on TikTok. Hashtag HJB. So what now? How are they sure that it's only one person involved?
Hopefully we learn tonight whenever they eventually get to have this press conference. I mean, we don't really know, other than what you all heard along with us in that earlier press conference that played this morning. They've got a footprint. They've got kind of a forearm imprint.
Yep.
They've got the
palm print,
the assumed weapon, and then they've got these images. So nothing that they have presented to us would suggest it's more than one person. But we also, again, we don't know if this person of interest is the suspect or if they are separate individuals. We're hoping that we learn more when Director Patel arrives in Utah.
Ultimately, one person pulled the trigger of that firearm, that rifle on top of that rooftop. One person pulled that trigger, fired that shot, struck Charlie Kirk in the neck, and that person is responsible for that action. But whether or not there's anyone who aided that person, that's of course a focal point of the investigation. I think that the top priority for the FBI would be to find the person responsible for pulling the trigger. But then it's, how is this person able to acquire the firearm? How is the person able to get to the rooftop? How is the person, able to orchestrate this? There's going to be obvious questions asked as to whether or not this person had any help, anybody who was an accomplice. So, but right now, tracking down this person is of, you can tell, of paramount importance for the FBI. That's going to do it for us here on stream. For Garrett Phillips, I'm JV Buno. We've got 30 seconds, so let me use this to explain where we go from here. On social media, on our various social media platforms, especially now Facebook and TikTok, and we'll try on YouTube as well. We are going to be taking the press conference when it does, in fact, happen. We'll try to do it on as many social media platforms as we can. And depending on when it happens, I might be here. It depends on how everything happens really over the course of the next few hours. But that press conference is expected to happen tonight with FBI Director Kash Patel in Utah with Utah officials, and we will stream it out here. You can follow us on social media. Follow the WFLA page on social media if you're looking for more live streams like this one, if you're looking for those press conferences, those raw feeds, and we will again provide updates as they come in. I'll be back live if we get something. If something happens in 5 minutes from now, believe me, I'll be back live. But for now, we're going to be signing off here from the Stream Center in Tampa, Florida. Thanks so much, folks. We'll be back live with updates and press conferences as they happen in this particular story. More details on WFLA.com.